Hello, 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 and welcome to the next episode of the Shane Walsh podcast. So, today's episode is an episode that I think a lot of people can kind of struggle with regarding some of the wording that kind of comes up, and it's not a lot of people when they kind of start off on a weight loss journey or maybe have struggled to try to lose weight for quite a while is they start to blame their age, they start to blame their metabolism, they start to blame their willpower, they start to blame others, they start to blame that it just doesn't work for you. It just sometimes it can be an awful lot quieter than that, a lot more subtle and a lot more powerful. It's the words that you're saying every single day. I hear it all the time from people when they first kind of come with me, and this isn't from a judgment point of view, this is from something that is keeping people stuck. The first thing that I want to say is not everyone has a level playing field when it comes to fat loss. That is why the weight loss drugs are revolutionary for that. There are some people who have the obesity gene. Some people have trauma, grief. Some people have the hunger hormones are a little bit more regulated upwards than downwards. Some people have thyroid issues, but once you're on the right meds, that should be okay. Some people have a eating disorder. Some people have disordered eating patterns. It's nothing to do with anything that you have said. It's the language you use, the stories that you have starting to believe. And the more we say these things that I'm going to go through now in a second, the more you start to believe them and they become your identity. So if you've ever said this something of, I'm lazy, I have no discipline, I just have no willpower, I need to eat clean, I'm all or nothing, I hit the fuck up button, weekends derail me, weekends are harder. These sentences sound harmless, but they're not. They're keeping you stuck because every time you say them, you're genuinely reinforcing a version of yourself. You're not just describing behavior, you're basically defining who you are. And that's where the progress really gets blocked. And there's a massive difference between identity versus behavior. I ate too much this weekend and I always derail at weekends. One is a behavior and one is an identity. When it becomes identity, you stop trying to change it. You just accept it for what it is. You start believing it. This is just who I am. But I've never met anyone who has derailed themselves at the weekend. Is there a conscious decision in there for some? Yes. Is there a subconscious decision for some that they maybe don't feel worthy of it? Is there a subconscious decision of there's a body image piece that gets triggered onto the food? Or might as well continue to eat because I don't like how I'm feeling because I'm feeling out of control. It's a lot more deep rooted than what a lot of us understand, and that isn't down to you. That's an education piece. Instead of other things like this is just who I am. This progress will slow down and motivation drops, and you repeat the same cycle again, and 52 times a year. You go for that whole diet starts Monday thing. So I'm going to ask you a couple of quick questions and real powerful kind of questions. If the words that I'm going to mention right below here weren't in your vocabulary, what would you say or do instead? Instead of I'm lazy, maybe it's I'm tired, I'm emotional, I haven't nourished myself, I've put everyone else first, and I haven't built sustainable routines yet. See the difference? Instead of I've no willpower, maybe it's I'm relying on motivation instead of structure. Going to the shop, doing something that's going to bring me further away or bring me closer to where I want to go, or acting like the person I want to become. And that could be simply getting a food shop in. But I always find it interesting from a human psychology point of view of we all love structure, but so many of us fight against it because we think this should be harder. We think this should be miserable. Instead of I'm all or nothing, which is a really, really famous one, maybe it's I've never been taught how to operate in the gray area or in the middle. Instead of weekends derail me, maybe it's weekends don't have any structure. So they're different. Rather than they derail you, they're different. Is it one day where you're running around with the kids and you're kind of going from A to B to C to D and you don't have a breakfast? It's no wonder your head's in foods at lunchtime or in the evenings because you're undernourished. Everyone else is getting treated first. Fill up your own cup first. So it's not a derailing issue or a weekend issue. It's a nourishment issue. Can you see the difference? One version blames you, which is never going to be a positive change. And the other version gives you something you can actually work with or change. And now, not everyone has a playing field. Some people are dealing with stress, trauma, work, kids, sleep, perimenopause, menopause, hormones, years of dieting, emotional eating. So not everyone has a level playing field. But that doesn't mean you can't pivot. That doesn't mean you're stuck forever. Because while you can't control your circumstances or the hand you've been dealt with, you can control to a point the story you're telling yourself about them. And that's what really, really matters a lot. And that daily language problem, here's the thing, the words you say daily become the thoughts you believe. So think about this. I'm an emotional eater. And I always say to someone, it's like, are you an emotional eater or are you someone who eats emotionally like a normal human? And the answer is you're a normal human. When you're a kid, when you're a baby, you cry, you get a boob to the mouth or you get milk. So that pathway or that neurological pathway of food is comfort. Food to deal with emotions is created. But it's when it becomes the only way to deal with things, that's when it becomes a little bit more difficult. So when you say I'm lazy, you're less likely to take action. When you say I always fuck up, you're more likely to mess up because you've told yourself you're going to do that. You're going to be 100% right all the time because you've told yourself. When you say I have no discipline, you stop building discipline. The brain listens to you. It's not about discipline. It's about having a little bit of structure. I've had calls this morning with 3 new clients. They've been with me for about 4 or 5 weeks. And one of the things that they've kind of noticed is because they're nourishing themselves, they come from keto background, they've kind of come from low carb background, they've kind of come from Slim and Club backgrounds. And the one thing they've all said to me, and now they're ranging from 5 pounds down to 7 pounds down in the last 4 weeks. And the one thing they've said all to me is, this isn't difficult anymore. 2, I'm actually nourishing myself now more, so I've reduced my overeating. But they were saying the things of discipline. I'm lazy. Now, there will be times where emotions ramp up and I'm expecting things to ramp up. But you're not even aware of you're saying these things because they just come out. These limiting beliefs start to come out. So how do we actually challenge these thoughts? You need to catch it. Start noticing when you say it. I'm lazy. I'm all or nothing. I've no willpower. Awareness is the first step to discovery. You can't change what you don't notice. You can't fix a leak that you can't find. Question it. Ask yourself, is this true? Because it's rarely true. You're not lazy. You're not lazy because we have evidence to support otherwise. You're looking after kids. You're putting food on the table. You're not lazy at work. But it's not lazy with food. It's not lazy or anything like that. It might be a self-worth issue that we're putting everyone else first and we're the last one to eat. That's not a lazy issue. That's a self-worth issue. You're not lazy because you've created other areas of your life that are going in the way we want because we can control the outcome. And it might be that we feel that we cannot control the outcome here. So why is it only food that we feel that we're lazy in? Because it's a learned pattern. The more evidence we have that we're lazy, it becomes your personality, becomes your identity, becomes what you believe. But we haven't challenged it yet. We need to replace the story. We need to swap identity statements for behavior statements. Instead of, I'm lazy, I didn't prioritize myself today. And that hits hard sometimes. Instead of, I hit the fuck up button, say, I struggled with one meal today, but I still get to nourish myself for the rest of the week. See the difference? See the power? I know I'm away this weekend. And I was away last weekend. Variety of meals, but just going back into routine starts to change the pattern and that identity to this is what I can do. That's taken years of practice. I didn't always do it that way, but that was a self-worth issue and a self-esteem issue that I didn't feel I deserved to eat after overeating. And that's where a lot of people fall into. I hit the fuck it button, or I hit the fuck it button all the time. No. You had one meal or 2 meals out of your whole week that didn't go according to plan, or you didn't have a setup structure in place, or we were just so tired and so fatigued that we just needed something else. But we still deserve to eat. Say what you're saying to your kids. Do they deserve to eat if they have a pizza? Do they deserve to eat if they have a takeaway? They mimic you. You're mimicking someone else, but they'll mimic you. So why does this matter? Because fat loss isn't just about calories. It's about mindset. It's about identity. It's about the story you tell yourself. And it's, if your story is I always fail, you'll keep proving yourself right every single time. But if your story becomes I'm learning how to do this differently, everything changes. Because progress becomes possible again. Consistency becomes a lot easier. And fat loss becomes a lot more sustainable. So what do I want you to take away from today? The words you use are keeping you stuck. Or they're helping you move forward. So if you're constantly kicking yourself down like a puppy and telling yourself that you're lazy, you lack willpower, you're all or nothing, you're an emotional eater, it's my metabolism, it's my age, you're building an identity that makes fat loss and your goals harder. That needs to stop, because you're not broken, you're not lazy, you're not lacking discipline, you're just repeating a story that was never true in the first place. Just like believing that Santa is a real person. And the moment you change that, that's when things land. If this has hit home for you at all, share the podcast, follow the podcast, subscribe to the podcast up on YouTube. Share this with a friend. Drop me a DM if you have any queries or questions about it. But I hope that today's episode has helped you.